Am I the asshole for interfering in the bouquet toss at my girlfriend's sister's wedding? My girlfriend, we'll call her Maggie, and I went to her sister's wedding on Sunday. It was a great event, and things were going really well for most of the evening. This was the first time I met Maggie's mother, but I had already met the rest of her family. When it came time for the bouquet toss, Maggie was one of the ladies in the group to try and catch it. I thought I had an opportunity to be funny and lift the mood, so I stood behind Maggie and slapped the flowers to the ground before she could catch them. I don't know if she actually would have been the one to catch them, but I did it anyways. I was doing it as a joke, which I thought would be obvious to everyone. I was like 0.0001% serious. I'm actually not interested in marriage. I'm in my 20s. I really had no bad intentions and wasn't trying to upset anyone. I thought I would get a good chuckle from the crowd. After I slapped the bouquet to the ground, there was an audible gasp from everyone around, followed by an awkward silence. I was a little embarrassed, but I laughed anyways to try to non-verbally show everyone that it was a joke. Nobody laughed. After a bit, the moment had passed, and everyone was starting a big dinner. Nobody talked to me, and I was getting a couple of sideways glances. Maggie's mother eventually pulled me aside and, very respectfully, asked me to leave, to which I obliged. I didn't want to cause a scene. A few weeks later, my girlfriend and her sister are over it, but the mom still seems weird about it. I haven't spoken to her since then. Was this an asshole move, or was it just a lighthearted joke that was misinterpreted?
And how long have they been dating?
No mention of that either.
I think that's like the most important element of it. I also like being like having I'm not into marriage be the qualifier of being like, that's why it's good that I slapped the flowers down that signify getting married next. Also, it's like he didn't know she was going to catch it. Does that mean it like wasn't coming towards her? Like he just like ran in and just was like, nope, nobody's getting it today.
That's what it feels like. It feels like have you seen Wedding Crashers towards the end when Owen Wilson is like losing his mind and he like smacks the bouquet down? He like runs in, smacks it, and like steals it.
Right.
That's what it feels like. It feels aggressively, no matter where it was going, it was getting smashed to the ground.
Right. It sounds like he was like the way that he's trying to frame it was like I was like behind her, like holding her, and then I was like, haha, and like it was playful. Like it really seems like he went in and like spiked it to the ground so nobody could catch it.
Yeah. I would be so annoyed if someone
sounds like an
did
asshole.
This. No one takes that seriously. I've gone to a lot of weddings and I've stood there. Justin doesn't get scared that I'm going to catch the bouquet. Like no one takes this tradition seriously.
I'm terrified of it.
Are you?
No, I'm kidding.
So today's secret comes from Sophie. Hi, Annabelle and team. My parents have been married for 36 years and I have a secret that's eating me up inside. I was staying at my parents' place a few months ago, and when I got up for a glass of water in the middle of the night, I saw that my mum was in tears and my dad was storming out of the house. My mum told me it's over. I asked her, "What? What's over?" "Us." "Why?" "Affair." "Who?" "Your dad with Ella."
Ooh.
Ella's my best friend's name, so this is
Oh.
true. Ella,
What a
dare you?
floozy.
Classic.
Sorry, Ella.
Well, Ella is actually an ex-neighbor of my parents and is close enough to me in age that she could be my sister.
Oh my lord.
no.
I know a story like this.
Oh no.
Ugh.
The story came out that my dad had been having an affair for nearly a year and mum had known for several months. Months of him deciding he wants to be with my mum, then the next day telling my mum he's leaving her for this younger woman. When my dad returned home the next morning, I told him in very explicit language that I didn't want to be anywhere near him. I was disgusted by him. He went to stay at a motel for the rest of the week and I stayed with my mum, consoling her and helping her make plans to leave him. At the time, she hadn't told anyone and she asked me not to tell anyone. I told my brother with her reluctant permission and he came to visit to be there to support. Here's the secret that's eating me up though. Against her wishes, I told my uncle, my mum's brother, about the affair.
What? That seems random.
Yeah.
Of all people, the uncle?
Just got him on speed dial when the affair happens.
My logic was that my mum was going to need family support, and as much as we love her, my brother and I can't be the only people responsible for that. We have lives of our own. I told him to swear not to tell her he knows, but just to lend support when she does tell him. The thing is, my dad returned and my mum decided to stay with him.
No.
They're back playing happy families, much to the disappointment of my brother and I. We really wish she had left my dad. My dad plays golf with my uncle every Friday, and they spend time together socially quite often. My mum would be mortified if she knew that I told him everything, and I live in fear that after a few drinks one day he'll ask her about it. Am I a bad person for betraying my mum's trust and telling my uncle? At the time, I was sure she was going to leave my dad, and I thought that keeping it a secret meant that she had no one to back her up and take her side. Before I found out, only she and my dad knew. Also, should I tell her that he knows so that he can stop with this whole facade, pretending that everything is completely fine?
Am I the asshole for liquidating my daughter's college fund to keep our dream house? I, 50 female, lost my husband 4 years ago. I also have a 16-year-old daughter. My late husband left me everything and told me to trust his lawyer. My husband worked for 20 years as a doctor, so I inherited over 7 figures. A year later, I decided to list our home of 12 years and received an offer too good to refuse. I decided to move my daughter and I to Malibu because we always dreamed of a house next to the beach. But my husband was exceptionally tight-fisted and called homes there money pits. We found a beautiful home, but I never personally handled anything regarding buying a home before, so I didn't anticipate all the extra costs. Am I the asshole for liquidating my daughter's college fund to keep our dream house? My daughter was so excited, so I decided to go for it. My late husband's lawyer was furious at my decision, so I decided to stop taking his calls. I ended up signing with a money manager who said we'd be passively earning 90% of what surgeons earn per year. But he ended up tanking a lot of our investments. I then made my own investments, which just made it worse, and now we only have $35,000 available, not to mention our debt. Basically, I'm out of luck until my business gets clients. My husband did start a college fund for our daughter, and that would keep us afloat for many more months. So I liquidated it, and now she's furious. Am I the asshole for shaving my stepdaughter's legs? I'm female 29, married to my husband male 35, who has a child female 12 from his previous relationship. My husband and I are currently visiting his daughter in her hometown, and one of the things we did is go to Target. Before going, I asked my stepdaughter's mom what she's allergic to or sensitive to and what she's not allowed to have. My stepdaughter tends to copy what I'm purchasing for myself, so I just wanted to be sure. Her mom said that she's not allowed to have any makeup and that otherwise she's not sensitive or allergic to anything. Fast forward to Target, my stepdaughter really liked a pair of shorts but refused to get them because her legs were hairy. Am I the asshole for shaving my stepdaughter's legs? Her legs are really hairy and her mom doesn't allow her to shave. She's a brunette with really thick hair, and my husband and I were really surprised to hear this. I personally never had any shaving leg restrictions growing up, so we asked around. My sister-in-law, my stepmom, some friends, and everyone said they were allowed to shave their legs. Or at least their mom would help them do it. We had one more activity planned, going to the water park, and my stepdaughter refused that because she was ashamed to wear a swimsuit. But she loves water parks, so I offered to shave her legs and she agreed, and of course so did her dad. My stepdaughter was so happy, but her mom not so much, and she emailed us calling us assholes. Am I the asshole for lying to my wife as a joke about what AWD means? My 27 male wife, 27 female is very into feminism, and I often joke about it and she doesn't seem to mind. Like, I believe in equality and all and don't criticize her view or anything. Well, my wife was having car troubles with the engine of her old car, and her mechanic convinced her they were going to get worse and advised her to get another car. I thought it could do more years, but she still decided to sell it without even getting a second opinion. Her mechanic is actually a woman, and she trusts her for that reason and thinks she's a great mechanic. So my wife sold her old car and bought a used one that was much newer from a lady. Am I the asshole for lying to my wife as a joke about what AWD means? She bought it because she fell in love with the color and thought it looked cute. It's a fine car and I have no issues with it, but it just seemed like an odd reason to get a car to me. The car has an AWD badge on it, and as we were driving back after she bought it, she asked me why. I joked and said it was something they put on and is a club association of women drivers where they get together and talk about cars and car troubles and help each other. I thought she would realize it was a joke, but she took me seriously, so I didn't say anything and tried not to laugh. When she got home, she Googled it and realized I was joking, but got really upset and called me an asshole.